Hi everyone, it's Harry here, and 1 month today, Atlas, the story of Past Salt, will finally be released and you'll have all the answers that you've been dreaming of for the last decade. Now, I'm sure I don't need to tell you, but Atlas, the story of Past Salt, revisits each of the first 7 books. The plots are all intertwined, it's all been in the planning for 10 years now. So the best thing you could possibly do would be to reread all of the books. But each book is very long, and I appreciate that you might not have time to do that. So what I'm going to do here is try and summarise, or at least remind you of the content of the first 7 books, so that you're a little bit more prepared for Atlas, the story of Past Salt, on the 11th of May. So here is a spoiler warning. It's a spoiler warning. I'm warning you about spoilers for books 1 to 7 of the Seven Sisters series. So, in this first book, the 7 sisters, Maya and her 5 adopted sisters, gather at their childhood home of Atlantis, having been told that their beloved adoptive father, Past Salt, has died. Each sister is handed a tantalising clue to their true heritage. In Maya's case, the clue takes her on a journey across the world to a crumbling mansion in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. Maya's is a journey that takes us to Paris in the 20s, where Monsieur Paul Landowski is sculpting Christ the Redeemer. And we hear of the tragic love story of Belle Iris Cabral and Landowski's atelier assistant, of course, Laurent Bruilly. Perhaps Maya's greatest discovery, though, is that of the love of her life, Florio Quintelis, and his daughter Valentina, and she ultimately elects to stay in the city of her birth. Now, as we head into Atlas, we don't forget that Maya gave away her baby, conceived with Zedesu whilst at university, and, of course, that she's now pregnant with Floriano's child. She has quite the journey to go on in Atlas. Moving on now to the Storm Sister, we learn that professional sailor and concert flautist Ali Dapliers has recently embarked on a deeply passionate love affair that will change her destiny forever. But with her life now turned upside down by the news of Past Salt's mysterious death, soon followed tragically by her partner Theo's, she decides to leave the open seas and follow the trail he left her, which leads her to the icy beauty of Norway. And what a tale Ali's ancestors provide. She reads about the secret voice of Grieg's Peer Gynt, romantic betrayal on an epic scale, and in the more recent past, the devastation her family endured following the Nazi invasion of Norway, leading to the deaths of her relatives, Karine and Pip. Ahead of Atlas, of course, we're really feeling for Ali, because she clearly has a romantic connection with Mary's son Jack, but her infant son reminds her of Theo. I wonder, will our headstrong leader be able to rally her sisters when they truly need it most? Book number 3 now, The Shadow Sister, and poor old Star is really at a crossroads in her life after Past Salt's death. The most enigmatic of the sisters, she's hesitant to step out of the safety of her close relationship with her older sister Cece, but decides to follow the first clue she's been left, which leads her to an antiquarian bookshop in London and the start of a whole new world. We delve into the history of the Highweald estate in Kent and the Vaughan family, Flora, Archie, Teddy, Louise, and of course the Great Land Divide which separated Star's biological family. Oh, not to mention the involvement of a certain King of England and the appearance of a beloved children's author, Beatrix Potter. As we begin Atlas, Star is settled. She has a partner, Mouse, and his young son, Rory, but you can be sure that the revelations she'll come up against on the Titan will challenge even Star, the most grounded of the sisters. The Pearl sister, Cece, has never felt as though she fitted in anywhere. After Pa's death, she finds herself at breaking point and decides to flee to Thailand and discover her past. The only clue she has are a black and white photograph and the name of a female pioneer called Kitty McBride, who lived in Australia over 100 years ago. Cece's is a remarkable tale of the identical Mercer twins, her prominent Aboriginal heritage, and of course the mystery of a certain cursed pearl which brings death to all those who dare take ownership. Ahead of Atlas, Cece has grown in confidence, hugely aided by her new relationship with her partner Chrissy, but in Atlas there are questions to be asked about Past Salt's life, and Cece is the one to ask them. Book number 5, it's The Moon Sister, and sister number 5, Tiggy, takes a job on a remote Scottish Highland estate, employed by the enigmatic and troubled Laird Charlie. Her decision alters her future forever when Chili, an ancient gypsy, tells her that not only does she possess a sixth sense, but it was foretold long ago that he would be the one to send her back home to Granada in Spain. Tiggy's Gitano heritage is revealed to her through the tale of Lucia Maya Albacin, an infamous flamenco dancer, but in the present, times are turbulent. Ali has her baby, aided by Tiggy's spiritual powers, and despite Zed Esu showing up and pursuing her, Tiggy falls in love with the Laird, Dr. Charlie Kinnaird. Now, Tiggy and her family heritage have a huge part to play in the series finale, but I can't say any more about that. Moving on to book number 6, The Sun Sister. And to the outside world, Electra Daplier seems to have it all as one of the world's top models. But as those around her begin to fear for her health, Electra receives a letter from a stranger claiming to be her grandmother. The contents take her from the frenetic atmosphere of Manhattan to the magnificent wide-open plains of Africa. A sweeping tale of Kenya's Happy Valley set, the antics of Kiki Preston at the Whittaker Club, and the tale of a secret adoption marred by the prejudices of the time. That particular story ends with Electra being abandoned at the Hale House Centre in Harlem, which we might just find out more about in Atlas. Who knows? By the end of Electra's story, we've grown to love the Sun Sister, who has put herself through rehab where she's met her partner Miles and is so confident in their relationship that she's going to bring him aboard the Titan in Atlas, the story of Parsolt. Is she moving too quickly, I wonder? So, on to book number 7, The Missing Sister. The 6 Daplier sisters have each been on their own incredible journey, but they still have one question left, of course. Who and where is the missing sister? A single clue, an image of a star-shaped emerald ring, will take them across the globe, from New Zealand to Canada and onto England, France, Ireland, uniting them all in their mission to complete their family at last. And gosh, what a whirlwind Mary's story is. We learn that she doesn't really want to be found, fearing that she's being pursued by a malevolent force from her past. And speaking of the past, we follow the tale of Cumanaban and the pivotal role women played in the movement for Irish independence in the early 20th century. Eventually, Mary is tracked down by the sisters, but doesn't show a great deal of interest in joining them on board the Titan, even though her children Mary, Kate and Jack have no hesitation in jumping on board. However, a flustered Georg Hoffmann manages to convince Mary to join the women on board the super yacht, and Mary boards a plane to Nice. That is where the story ends, and where it immediately begins in Atlas, the story of Parsolt. I hope I've managed to jog your memory somewhat, but as I say, the best thing you could possibly do would be to reread the first 7 books, and I simply cannot wait for you to know all the secrets on the 11th of May.